Podcast. I'm your boy, the franchise player. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting edition of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. It is your boy, the franchise player, Double B Bad Blood, with Tony the Burn right here. And Tony,
I've been
it's
gone for a
Wednesday.
while.
Yeah, it's Wednesday night. You know what that means.
Oh, I sure do know what
It's
that
time
means.
for some serious tea to be spilled tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Woo,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yep. I know we got the green tea. We got the Earl Grey.
Got that Long
We
Island
got
iced tea.
Oh, hell yeah.
Man, so Tony,
Yeah.
you've been gone for a while, man.
Yep.
People have been asking about you. They've been like, "Hey, where's Tony?" I'm like, "Tony,
So I've been in New Orleans. I've been sleeping in airports in Denver and in Seattle. I have been all over the place over these last couple of weeks.
The life of a pro wrestler."
Pretty much. Life of a pro wrestler who likes to go out to other conventions and go and look at buildings that Nicolas Cage wanted to buy to make himself a hotel that were once a murder house.
Fucking Nicolas Cage.
I know, right?
That guy's such a horrible actor. He can't play. Nicolas Cage can't even play Nicolas Cage. That's pretty fucking bad.
Now, see, I like Nicolas Cage, but his decision making is questionable at best.
Well,
questionable at best.
Speaking of questionable at best, dude, this podcast is going to be lit tonight, brother.
I know people are already trying to get us pulled off the air. They've been trying to get us pulled off the air for the last 2 days.
I literally posted on the Roundtable podcast that we're going to have special guests on tonight to talk about the rise and fall of 1-3-2-1 battle. And I swear to God, like 30 minutes after it was posted, I got a message. And the message basically was like, you know what? I'm not going to be that guy and say something on the air here that's not true. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do is scroll through my Facebook feed, scroll through and find the message. I'm not going to say who it was from, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you already know because I sent you the information too.
Yeah, well, I know. They might not know.
Well,
but
I mean, you know, it's Eddie Van Glam. Fuck it.
You know knee having motherfucker.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Here's the deal, dude. If you get a message from someone and they say, "Don't have someone on your podcast because everything he's gonna say is not factual." If you want someone on your podcast and you want it to be the truth, then you should go ahead and have me on the show. And my response was, that's fine, dude. If you want to dispute anything that has been said about 3-2-1 battle, then you gotta just come on the show. And his response was, I will not do that unless you pull the show.
Fuck you.
Rob has here it is. Here it is right here. I will read you verbatim. Okay?
All right.
Hey, how about you actually book someone from 3-2-1? Rob is not a reliable source. Oops, sorry.
Even though he was there for a long ass time.
Yeah. And the screenshot that was sent to me, 50% of the world's pineapples now contain cocaine. Why would you screenshot that and then say, oops, wrong screenshot? So I digress. I said, if you want to come on the show, I'll be glad to have you. His response was, pull the episode and we'll talk. Otherwise, what you're pushing is slander.
What?
Now,
was
here's
Eddie
the thing.
Trying to buy us off with Coke or something?
I don't know. I mean, I like pineapples, and I know pineapples have Coke in it, but apparently it's fucking, Manuel Noriega's new way of smuggling Coke.
I'm
allegedly.
We're not gonna. Allegedly.
First, allegedly.
You're gonna hear that word a lot on this show, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna hear that a lot tonight.
Well, I'm just confused because I was basically told that I will be pushing slander because Rob has zero facts that is guaranteed. Now, here's the situation that befalls me.
That's interesting.
As a producer of this podcast and co-host, as someone that has been involved in the business for almost 30 years, I know the wrestling game. Tell a phone, tell a friend, tell a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I know. But I also know that facts are facts. I mean, it's not like a girl saying, "Oh, this guy said this to me. He did this. He did that. He did this. He did that. I never want to speak to him again." And then the next day, sends nudes on Snapchat. I mean, or have full-on conversation with the person that, quote unquote, you were being harassed by.
Allegedly.
The
Got a pineapple, never experienced a high. Well, apparently you're not getting your pineapple from the same place that Eddie Van Glam does. So
pretty sure.
There you go.
So basically what it all boils down to is our guest tonight, they're not coming on to slander anyone.
Nope.
They're not coming on to talk shit. They're coming on to discuss the rise and fall of 3-2-1 battle. They're coming on to give their opinion as to what they witnessed.
Yep.
Allegedly. What they witnessed happened at 3-2-1 battle. Now, we all know, everyone in the Pacific Northwest and some people outside the Pacific Northwest have even commented on the fact that there has been so much publicity about the situation that happened there.
There, indeed. Yeah.
So me being a proponent of professional wrestling, I wanted to bring these gentlemen on to have a real conversation with some real guys about what they really saw. One gentleman actually was involved with 3-2-1 battle. Mm-hmm. One of the big bosses there for a while. Yep. He stepped down and moved away to do other things. Another person, the other guy, Andrew is a director or producer for a film company, and he's actually doing a documentary on the rise and fall of 3-2-1 battle. So with that being said, let's jump into a quick commercial break because the tea will be spilled and we're not going to have time to pay any bills.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get it out of the way now.
Let's get it out of the way now, and we'll be right back with more of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these
When you want to get your hair cut, you go get your hair cut right. You head down to Big D's Barbershop. Big D's Barbershop, Vancouver, Washington's best and brightest. 1019 Main Street, Vancouver, Washington, where you can go get your hair lined up, cuts, fades, shampoos, conditions, and all the great things that go with supporting a local barbershop in a local business area. You can also reach them online at www.bigdsbarbershop.com. Go get your hair cut right.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Man. It's so crazy. Nick, yes, tomorrow you can listen. You can find us on Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Any and everywhere you can find the Virgin, it's one of those days. Anywhere you can find the vocal version of this podcast, we will be there. So without further ado, Tony, introduce our illustrious guest today.
All right. So joining us tonight, we've already talked about them. We've got Rob Milliron, formerly 3-2-1 Battle, and various other pro wrestling projects, including BLW, and Andrew Paragamian, producer, director, filmmaker du jour. And we will be introducing them here in just a moment to talk about their upcoming film project that is, as I understand, still currently untitled, and pretty much anything having to do with I guess we can say pretty much anything having to do with the Pacific Northwest pro wrestling scene. But the main reason people want to tune in is for the discussion about 3-2-1 Battle. We will be opening up the room to questions from the chat. So if you have your questions, get them ready, get those sent in, and we'll get those on the air for you.
It's going to get late, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you get your questions in. If you got questions, we got answers. Or at least we'll have alleged answers. That's the third time I said the word alleged today.
And it won't be the last.
Allegedly. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring on Larudo himself, Ron Milliron. Rob, welcome to the club. Rob, I have cookies in my mouth.
Name spelled out for you and everything.
I'm not Von Hess, bro.
Oh, God. I was going to say that was going to be one of the other things. You might
Ron's
get some questions about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. Anyway, so Rob, tell us.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Our pleasure.
Man, I'm glad we had you.
So what's going on,
Rob? What's going on? Tell us. We want to know. We want to know where the tea is and how we can spell it.
Well, unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot of tea spilt. I'm not actually going to slander and run down anybody in 3-2-1 Battle. I love the people that were behind 3-2-1 Battle, the fans, the wrestlers, all the production staff that were really irreparably damaged by the refusal of management to do the right thing, essentially.
Right. Yeah. And again, we'll get into that here in a little bit. And our other guest, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I don't know. I watch a lot of news. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
We're just chatting.
So, as a matter of fact, it looks like we have our first question already. Nick asking, did Rob ever talk to or know the Banana from 3-2-1 Battle documentary?
No. And I really resent it, Nick, that you would even bring up that I am anyway a banana in this situation.
Oh,
but no, like I was brought into Battle after the Banana thing, after they were crushed by the local government, and really just on hard times. So no, I did not meet the Banana.
So was this before, during, or after semi-pro?
I came on after semi-pro, probably maybe a year after they started up as Battle again.
Okay.
Yeah. My first show was the first tattoo expo that 3-2-1 did downtown Seattle.
Okay.
That is how I remember the date. I think it was like 7 years ago.
Okay, so kind of lead us through a little bit of a timeline here. So this would have been before they got into what was the name of the building? I'm totally blanking.
It was right around the time
Evolve. Yeah. So it was right around that time when they were starting over at Evolve Fitness.
And I had just been to a few shows. I had heard about it through word of mouth, through people on Capitol Hill, which is the vibrant nightlife district.
Yes.
I, for years, was a part of the nightlife industry. both as a cook. I owned a restaurant. I worked in several restaurants. I was a booking agent. I did hospitality. I was in a hip hop group. I owned a hip hop label. I was a production manager, and I threw illegal parties. So it's
wait. Those were alleged illegal parties.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly
we had the help of the
illegal parties.
police allegedly too. So
Oh my.
yeah. So I came into 3-2-1 battle with a firm knowledge of promotion and real chops in promotion. So when I met Tup, Chongo Bronson, Corey, as he might be referred to as today. Yeah. So like I was tapped into him through Billy the Fridge. Billy the Fridge is
Billy the Fridge. I remember him.
a phenomenal rapper who I worked with a lot. We were part of the same scene. We were part of the same friend group, and he vouched for me, and that got me in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of a follow-up question. So I'll kind of rephrase this. So who started wrestling at 3-2-1 when you started? How about we rephrase this to, did you personally bring in, or were you responsible for possibly scouting any talent to 3-2-1?
Well, I brought in Bob Evans
Okay.
for the seminar, the first seminar
Love
that
Bob.
he did. And then I brought in Jeff Cobb and B-Boy. So, yes, BJ.
I'm like, there's this guy right here he brought in too.
Yes. And the point I'm trying to make is 3-2-1 did not have any outreach to other promotions, and they weren't able to put deals like that together with BJ or with Ron or with any of the other promoters because they had a chip on their shoulder wrestling on a stage so long and not being considered real pros, and the whole yard mentality.
Well, I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. As someone who's been in the business for a long time, I extended my hand to 3-2-1 battle before you did. The company that I'm a part of, we extended our hand to some of the guys there, and the audacity of some of these guys who have never been, I always say, would you rather be a big fish in a small pond, or would you rather be a great white shark in the fucking ocean? Well, those guys were perfectly fine being their big fish in their small pond, but they wanted everyone to think that they were a great white shark. So they weren't open to working with people. And then you came along, and then I realized that they start changing their mind about working with people. And I don't know if it was the office there or if it was just you personally, but I remember every time I got contacted about coming to a 3-2-1 show, it was because of you.
Yeah. I mean, that outreach is such an important part when marketing goes bad. When you have bad PR, you need to do a lot of outreach. And I have been known to be kind of a repair guy, like repair images, repair, if you have a bad image, you come to Rub and learn to act right. But
there you go.
I was acting wrong quite a bit. Like, I was a horrible alcoholic, and I was just had the world crumbling around me, and I lost my restaurant, I lost my wife, I lost 3-2-1 battle at the same time. I I went to rehab and I got out, and the boys weren't the same to me, and that made me angry. And then I had my first show, Rainier Pro Wrestling, Bad Blood. Tony, you guys were both there. Andrew, you weren't there yet. And it was a decent turnout, but I really said some things that pissed off 3-2-1 Battle, and I felt that I knew that they would, like, it was all a work. Like Evil Boss, it was supposed to be my promotion against 3-2-1 Battle. I had talked to one person in 3-2-1 Battle about it, not enough, I guess. But it put me on the outs. Also putting me on the outs, I thought that I did not have to pay those guys because they were good friends of mine. Or I thought that they were good friends of mine. So I paid Bad Blood. I paid Buddy. I paid a bunch of people. I paid all of Buddy Wayne's guys. Like, I paid everybody but my close crew. And that was the giant mistake. And that is
that's really
I feel horrible. Like, and I realized that there was heat, and I was like, hey, I'm going to pay everybody that feels that they are owed money, and that I said I would pay them money. I didn't promise anybody like any money except for people that asked for money, like Bob Evans, like Bad Blood, like the Buddy Wayne guys that knew to ask for money. And that's my bad. I was taking advantage of people. I was fresh out of rehab and crazy, going through the early stages of divorce.
Let me interrupt you real quick, Rob. Quick. I got some stuff in the comments that I need to
for
clarify.
sure.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so
What are we talking? What's this list?
Okay.
So Joan, we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna say this. I wrestled one time for 3-2-1 Battle. I traveled the country. I didn't spend all my time in Seattle at 3-2-1 Battle. Rob actually worked for 3-2-1 Battle. I don't know if you're a fan or if you're actually in the business, but you seem to know a lot about what's going on.
Right.
So, with that being said,
and as for me, I was a frequent fan. I occasionally helped, break down after shows, is kind of how I got to know some of the guys. That's how I met Just Exciting for the first time, as a matter of fact.
That's right. Now, isn't Shango on that list that went around last year? Now, what she's talking about is the speaking out movement. I cannot confirm nor deny, because I don't know if his name was on the list or not. But
his name absolutely was on the list, and that is part of what our movie is about.
Yes.
Is the two separate responses to the claims of rape.
Right.
There were two. Before, with Chongo Bronson, and he took the woman to court, and he proved himself in court, despite allegedly Eddie Van Glam speaking for the woman in court,
the accuser.
Yeah. So I don't know what I was not there. That's the story I heard.
That's the same story I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So I think that's sort of how I got into this whole thing. I was researching a documentary about some Seattle wrestlers, and Rudo here was one of my interviews, and he and I got to talking, and he kind of started explaining to me that there was maybe some darker elements to a story here that needed to be told. And so I stood back and I kind of reevaluated what I was doing and what kind of project and what kind of story I wanted to tell and thought needed to be told. And that's sort of how the project has progressed to this point now. So as far as this list, and again, I want to make clear to anybody who's watching this right now, if there's interviews to be had, I'm not anonymous on the internet. You can find me. Send me a message. I'd love to schedule an interview. We'll get it on film. And then when we cut this whole thing together, we can, I don't have any, I don't have any footing. I don't care what story comes out. I just want to tell a story. If Eddie Van Glam doesn't want to tell a story, if he doesn't want to come on camera, that's his prerogative. But I can't really tell his side of the story if I don't have that interview, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Trying to tell a story, there's a lot of different perspectives, and you're trying to bring that together and present the wider picture of what's really the heart of the matter. So if there is a list, I'd love to know what this list is.
I think we can explain
I'll
that
send
here
it.
in a moment.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And then
as far as if there is a truth to that, we're gonna find out. So anybody who has anything they want to say, find me online. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on all that stuff. Send me a message. Let's set up an interview and let's talk about it. Because if that's really the case, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I can tell you this: the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, we're a non-biased podcast here. I don't care if it's AEW, WWE, 3-2-1 Battle, MLW, NWWA, fucking DOA. I don't care who it is. If there is news, if there is someone that wants to come on this podcast and they want to express their opinion, it is their opinion and their opinion alone. It does not reflect those of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. I will bring anyone on the show if they have an intriguing story. If they have,
we had Von Hess and Phoenix Kid going at it on this podcast, so we're willing to let people hash out their issues. One thing I do want to clarify, though, for some of you who may not be aware, the list in question, it's the hashtag Speaking Out list. This was a so-called list of wrestlers that circulated. What was this, in the last year or two? That had
last year.
So this was a list of wrestlers who had allegedly been involved in some kind of misconduct, whether it be emotional, physical, verbal, sexual abuse, and whatnot. And so there are a lot of claims that were made. Chongo, as I understand, was on that list. And I know that the name Joey Ryan did come up. Obviously, he was one of the main people who was on that list.
Mm-hmm.
So
Allegedly.
there were a lot. Yeah. And there were a lot of people that were on this list. And a
lot of people in the Pacific Northwest.
That's true. That was actually one of the things about that list. It did seem, I mean, aside from the obvious ones, like your Hulk Hogan's and whatnot, it was actually very top heavy with a lot of Pacific Northwest wrestlers, which was something that kind of surprised me, but kind of didn't, if I'm being honest.
The thing about that list. The list labeled a lot of people. A whole lot of people. And a lot of people lost jobs.
Jake.
A lot of people lost careers. A lot of people lost family members. A lot of people lost a lot of things. Some of those people were unfounded truths.
That's true.
And some of those people were found to be true. I'm not going to come on the show. I'm not going to bash anyone on that list because personally, I wasn't there.
Yep.
But I do know that if I see something like that, I'm going to put a stop to it. As a father of a 12-year-old girl, I will put a stop to it. But on the flip side, there have been girls who have claimed sexual harassment.
Yes.
And we talked about this off air. I'm not going to say her name because that's not cool. But I will say,
we also don't want to
get contact the promoter and you tell the promoter, fire this guy. He sexually assaulted me. And then the promoter gets together with the guy and the 25 other people that were in that locker room, and they all say that it didn't happen. And you go back to this person, you say, I will make sure that he doesn't bother you again. 3 days after you make sure that person doesn't get bothered again, she starts sending naked Snapchat pictures of herself to the guy. Full-on conversations like, hey, I missed you. Why haven't you contacted me? So in me being a logical person, I always step back and I say, what the fuck? You know, so some of those unfounded truths were not founded. Some of those things were just friends trying to be cool.
Yep.
And have their friends back. Or, you know, like there's this whole clique thing where it's like people are involved in the clique. If I don't like you, you know, like with what's her name? God. It was over in the UK.
Oh, B. Priestley?
B. Priestley. So B. Priestley had an issue with someone. They said she was a bully or something, whatever, whatnot, allegedly. The girl that claimed all the negativity said that Will Ospreay and B. Priestley and other people, they ganged up on her and they got her blackballed from certain wrestling companies.
Right.
So, like allegedly.
Allegedly.
So things like that, a gang mentality. You know, in the Northwest, there's a
it is very prevalent.
It's very prevalent here in the Northwest. There's like a lot of the gang mentality when it comes to someone, and I'm all for expressing your opinion. I'm all for, hey, if you see something wrong, say something, you know. But
in fact, we encourage it. Yes.
Yeah, I encourage you step up and say something.
Please.
Don't do it because you think it's going to make you cool or because your friend in the clique doesn't like someone, you know. So when I got approached about having you on the podcast, saying, well, he's going to be saying a bunch of falsehoods and there's nothing substantial and there's no truth.
False.
The first thing you said when you came onto this podcast was, I am not going to slander anyone.
Well, and it's true because I care about all those people. I care about Eddie Van Glam. Little known fact, he is the one that drove me to rehab and dropped me off at rehab. Yep. And that is how far we've come. Like,
yeah. And I considered Eddie Van Glam a good friend for
I think
while.
He's a good guy. I'm not going to lie. I think Eddie Van Glam is a good guy.
Well, I mean, I thought he was a good guy. I mean,
well, you know, he's just, like I said, he's stating his own opinion. And everyone's you're as an American citizen. I know some of us believe that as American citizens, we don't have a right to say anything, but you have a right to say anything. You have freedom of speech. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But I will say this right here on this podcast, and these are my opinions and my opinions alone that do not affect those of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. In my opinion, if you're going to say whatever the fuck you want to say, do one of two things. One, own your truth. And two, have proof to back your shit up.
Yeah, it's like I like to say, freedom of expression does not mean freedom from consequences.
True statement.
If you want to, I mean, you could say, you know, you say whatever you want. You can express whatever opinion you want to. But if it turns out at the end of the day, you know, that what you're saying is factually wrong, that can blow back on you in a pretty harsh way.
And it does.
Well, absolutely.
So I hope we answered your questions, John Wentworth. You made a statement in the comments, and I wanted to address those statements so you know that we were actually paying attention to what was being asked.
We are absolutely paying attention. Another question here from Nick. Here we go. Oh, whoops. When you went to rehab, Rob, did you not go back to 3-2-1 after?
No. When I went to rehab, I was told, go get yourself better. And then I was made to not get myself better and just go away. But I had beef with the person that was running it at the time, which was a guy named Murray Grande. And I actually respect Murray Grande a lot. I don't think anything would have happened nearly as bad as if he would have been in control of the company like he was when he fired me. I mean, it's a rough deal, but you know, I'm not a one-hit wonder. So you know, if you build Hove, build another Hove, as Jay-Z would say. And I did. I tried and failed to run my own promotion, and then I worked for Von Hess, and out there in Bremerton, which is an amazing experience. I learned a lot from Ron.
It's kind of a rite of passage to be able to work out. If you never worked at the Mexican restaurant and you're part of the Northwest wrestling scene,
you ain't
are you really? Are you really part of the scene?
Well, and people from out of town know about the Mexican restaurant.
La Poblanita.
We should give a shout out to La Poblanitas. I hear they might be closing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is this the spot you were changing in the grocery aisles?
Yes,
exactly. I told them all about it.
I have changed in the grocery aisles. I've changed near the what is that? The little meat.
Change it back there with the fucking meat market.
I've changed in the freezer. I've changed over by the canned goods. You name it. I probably have been naked there.
Oh wow!
Oh my God.
If it's closing, we should go get some B-roll there, Rob.
Yeah. Those are Tony's comments, not those of the Roundtable Podcast.
Question: was your firing at 321 before the show at Randy's restaurant with Kevin Sullivan?
Randy's restaurant.
It was definitely before that.
Before that, okay. The show in the Skylift, yeah.
Yeah, I did 2 shows in the Skylift, which were both amazing. One at Sisters and Brothers in Georgetown, Seattle, and then one in Tukwila, Washington at Randy's, right next to the Museum of Flight, which was really cool. We actually had a helicopter land to deliver the band that was playing.
Oh, wow.
At the Randy's show. But the Sisters and Brothers show, which is the show that had Kevin Sullivan gigging the shit out of fucking the band.
I remember this.
Yeah, the lead singer wanted to get color. And Sullivan
don't tell Kevin Sullivan some shit like that. Never
ask Kevin Sullivan.
Look, I love Kevin to death. Kevin is like my mentor. And we did a 6-man tag team match one time, and it was me, Kevin, and Buddy Highway. We were doing the new Dungeon of Doom gimmick. And Kevin says, let's go have a street fight. So the other 3 guys are like, fuck it, let's have a street fight. So Kevin's standing in front of me. He's like, okay, blood, we go out there. I want you to do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I swear to you, man, so fucking funny. He says, here we go. He picks up a chair and just forgets every fucking thing and just starts beating the shit out of everybody.
Typical Sully.
Yeah.
I was like, Kevin, what happened? He's like, fuck it. The crowd loved it.
Exactly.
I'm sure they did.
Well, and like the lead singer of the band made the mistake of getting cut and then asking for more. Like he wanted more blood. So Sully opened him up, and I had to tell sign guy, like,
wait, stop right now. Do not say that name on this podcast.
Okay.
So he is like fucking
I was gonna say, you know how that new Candyman movie is coming out here pretty soon? Yeah, well, you say his name 3 times and suddenly he's
going to appear on the podcast. So that's one. Okay. Don't do it again.
Does it go for
has his own hashtag on this show?
So Jason, I told him to take the memory cards from all the cameras and stick them in his trunk and get Sullivan out of there before the cops and the ambulance came, because the ambulance got called and it was in the middle of negotiations for the new wrestling law in Washington.
Oh, that's right.
I had such heat around me because I almost blew the whole thing. But the fans loved it.
Oh my God. Quick question. So just kind of a follow-up from earlier. This is just something I wanted to have you clarify. Yeah. So I know who he is, but some of the people watching may not know. Who is Murray Grande?
Murray Grande was the first owner of 321 Battle, and he was also the color commentator, and did all the graphic design and did all the art direction and was really one of the linchpins behind the whole production. Also very outspoken, to say the least.
So I've heard. Will he be speaking at any point during this documentary, or has
I hope
has it not been discussed yet?
I mean, he's on the list. I hope that
we shouldn't be talking about a list.
Sits. The belt maker, yes, the belt maker, Tom Swanson.
Tom Swanson, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then
not the horrible Tom Swanson from Spokane. Oh,
I was gonna say that guy.
No, not Tom Swanson from Spokane.
Less said about him, the better.
Oh yeah.
Everyone loves Swanson. Love that guy.
Okay, and then so as far as Murray or Tom's role in the company, how did that change? Even after you had left 321, where did his role go? Because I understand his role in the company changed toward. I don't want to say towards the end, but at some point later on.
Yeah. So when there's no way to make this story short.
Go ahead, please.
So Chongo and Draven Lawless were the bookers. Yes. And I was kind of like the production manager, you could say. Or I was doing some booking, but like outside booking,
right.
And just, general ideas. Once the Chongo accusation was made, I asked Chongo to step down and let everything play out. And that was a very scary situation because my brother Chongo can be passionate, very passionate.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, so
wonderfully nice guy, but very passionate.
Yeah, so we had some very passionate words because I am known to be passionate as well, and coming from hip hop, like Chongo went to Garfield. Andrew went to Garfield.
Yeah,
like, most of Seattle hip hop went to Garfield or Franklin, the school down the street. So like the hip hop world was very intertwined in Chongo and I, and that kind of bled into wrestling, and we both became just like, oh, like Funk on sight, one of us is going to die. Like, it's really real. And he, like, I was lauded for a minute. Like, I was getting, people were reaching out and like, oh, good job kicking him out. And it was like I didn't want to kick him out. It's just take some time off. And he was fully vindicated. And he took if he would have taken the time off, it would have gone perfectly. He would have stayed with 3-2-1 battle. I probably would have stayed with 3-2-1 battle. Brett would have stayed with 3-2-1 battle, but we lost all 3 of those pieces. And Brett's younger brother, Cody Whistler, and Murray Grande, seized control. 3-2-1 always worked as kind of like a election, like you would elect the booker, and somewhere that stopped happening, and that is where that happened. And
gotcha.
So what I heard once I was on the outside was that Murray trademarked the name and the logo, which he created the logo. Absolutely. He didn't create the name, but he popularized it. He had the trademark, and he essentially owned the company. So I had no stand-in anymore. And like Chongo helped create it, and he had no stand-in anymore. Brett helped create it, and he had no stand-in anymore. And it really, self-destructed a lot of people. What's this question?
Documentary is meant to be used as a means to clear Chongo's name at the expense of 3-2-1s. That's not what I'm getting from this.
This documentary, first off, no documentary is a court of law. It doesn't serve court of public opinion. We're not trying to clear anybody's name. We just want the heart of the story. Whatever it is, the good, bad, the ugly, that's all we want. I don't want to cast anybody as a villain. I don't want to cast anybody as a white hat. That's not what we're doing here. And if other people think that's what we're doing here, that's not what we're about. I'm gonna put that out there right now. We're just trying to tell a story, especially with everything you see going on in entertainment and sports. Yes, ma'am, of all sides. Everything you see what's going on in entertainment and sports, this is a story that needs to be told. Especially for people coming into the industry, coming into entertainment. I see it. I'm a writer. I'm a comic. I see it in that industry. If we're going to change things, the only way to change things and move forward is to actually talk about it. That's what we're doing here.
We're trying to get to the root of it and why this industry is so full of these guys, because it was focused in the Northwest, but this list had people nationwide, around the world, and we need to examine that.
Well,
because I love 3-2-1, and it sucked that it fell apart.
I'll tell you this right now. My mom used to say this to me, my sister, and my little brother when we were younger. There's your side, there's my side, and then there's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, like there's you're gonna tell your side of what you saw. That is your truth. Eddie Van Glam or anyone from 3-2-1 Battle, or even this Master Boyd or the Gene Joan Whitworth. They see things that their perception. So
just like Exciting he saw a lot of things up close as well. So
yeah, someone there.
Yeah.
You know, he was there until,
So-
like I said, until the bullshit. Like,
Until the bullshit. Yeah.
you know, so that's someone that was on the inside who was actually wrestling there. That's why I first seen him at 3-2-1 Battle. You
Yeah,
know?
he was one of the guys that I actually. So when I was first going there, I wanted to kind of take a look and maybe see if there was anyone that might be, you know, maybe I could report back to Bad Blood and kind of see, you know, hey, maybe we could maybe talk to the booking committee and maybe see if we can bring this person or this person or this person. And one of the guys that immediately caught my eye was Just Exciting.
The current BCW Worldwide Champion.
Yep. So I want to say that was one of my prouder moments. One of my prouder scouting moments, I should say.
And it goes back to, like I said, it's just your perception of what is right or wrong. So like Master Boyd right here just said, so then who's telling the story? Then, you know, okay, so who's telling the story? You know, the people who actually investigated everything. This is what I'm gathering from the conversation that we're having. It's not a Chongo expose. It's not even a 3-2-1 expose. It's not an expose at all. It's a story about what happened to cause an issue that closed the company down. Am I right?
Yeah.
I think so. And we're gonna talk about how it began and what it was about, and we're gonna. I mean, that's obviously you can't tell a story about how something came apart if you can't talk about what it was. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to get to the nuts and bolts of what happened. So, Master Boyd, if you want to tell your story, I'd love to hear it. Please come, reach out. We'd love if whoever. We want to hear. We want the complete picture of what actually happened, because we can't tell a complete picture of the story if we don't have all sides.
Yeah, so there's kind of the follow-up to the question, you know, who will we see telling the story behind 3-2-1? People that were booted or people who were there till the end? I would assume a little of both.
All of them, yeah. I mean, all sides of the story.
Absolutely. I mean,
sounds fair to me.
if you want to tell a complete story with, you know, whether it be two perspectives or more, you have to be able to talk to people that were there at the start, people who were there throughout, people who spent maybe just a little bit of time there, and people who were there till the very end.
Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, no one is bashing anything. No one is saying, oh, this company is a piece of shit or this or that. These are statements that are just, they're not even statements, they're like questions. Like, I want to know what happened. I want to know what made this person do this. I want to know why this company did this. I want to know why this company shut down. I want to know why the guys that worked there were, you know, there and then gone. I want to know what happened. Like, that's the only way you find out anything. You only find out shit if you ask questions. There's no stupid questions. You know what I mean? There's no dumb question. If you ask a question, then you're going to get your answer no matter who's telling the fucking story.
Exactly. So, go ahead and so I'm just not understanding why you guys are the ones talking about the fall when you literally weren't around in 3+ years.
Okay, so let me ask this question. I'm just going to throw it out there because Joan obviously is someone from 3-2-1 Battle,
or at least associated with somebody.
So Joan,
from there.
If you are someone from 3-2-1 Battle, message me on the chat right here. I will send you a link and invite you on the show so you can have your say. You can tell your side of the story. That way it will be an even trade. That way you can't say, or anyone can't say, well, these guys are only talking shit because they got fired. No, if you work there, or if you're someone that has been a part of the company, I welcome you to join us here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, and Just Exciting, you know, his side of the story said he got out before he knew that about the bigger issues that destroyed it. He saw it sinking. And then Master Boyd, I don't have a story. I'm just someone who has followed all the stuff online and a fan of 3-2-1 Wall was around. Fair enough. Absolutely. I mean, there's got to be a lot of people.
I have a pretty good story for you, Master Boyd. And Joan, it sounds like you were involved. I want to make clear right now, I was in Los Angeles the entire time 3-2-1 Battle was going on. I had nothing to do with it. I'm just trying to tell a story I started trying to tell a different story, and then I happened upon this story, and it seemed like it was much more interesting to tell.
Okay,
Not
so
a
she says I'm
fan,
nothing
just
but
asking
a fan.
questions. Okay,
Just
Okay.
asking questions.
All right.
That's
Well, then
totally fair.
I hope you enjoyed the
But-
finished product as well.
Before we go
and I
any
hope
further,
that you're
before we
able
go any
to.
further, let me say, Joan, we're not attacking you.
Yeah.
I humbly apologize if you feel that I was coming at you in
Yeah.
a negative way. I'm just saying, even as a fan, I appreciate you being a fan. But I will say this, as someone that runs a show, fans only know 10% of what actually happens in the back.
God, you said it.
Oh,
Those of
If you
us who
truly
have
knew
either
what was
been
going on backstage, you'd be like, how the fuck is this thing even still
it's
going?
an hour-long show, but it's an 8-hour day, 5 days a week.
Oh my
Oh
god, you have no
God, you
idea.
are not kidding. I've only been there for, a fraction of what Bad Blood has, worked on during shows. And even then, I just see such chaos. I mean, I've seen it when the chaos, working for Ron when Rob was in Bremerton there. So I've seen some ridiculous bullshit from so many different places, so many different angles. So
I
let's see,
do
we'll get-
actually, Joan. Joan says, "Do you guys
You guys
realize how
know.
public this shit was? Literally, all of my questions have been asked by multiple other people." Hey, you know what?
Absolutely.
True statement,
Yeah.
Joan. Like I
Yeah.
remember sitting back and watching this unfold, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my god!" Like if I can describe what I saw from 3-2-1 Battle's rise, or the fall of 3-2-1 Battle, I could say it was a shitstorm on top of a dumpster fire rolled into 2020. That's how fucking bad it was. And the fact that it was all over social media and so
Yeah.
many accusations were thrown this way, this way, this way, this way. That's why I'm saying right here on this podcast, if anyone involved with 3-2-1, Steve, fucking Eddie Van Glam, anyone involved in 3-2-1 Battle, if you want to come on here and you want to talk about what happened, please do so. I will do this. I will personally do this as the fucking co-host of this podcast. You can find me on Facebook. You've already contacted me. I will give you your time. I will literally dedicate a day to putting together an episode just so you can tell your side of the story for your fans to understand. So if the door is open, just like Tony Khan, I'm kicking open that forbidden door. It is wide the fuck open. If you want to come on the show, you want to state your opinion, it is your opinion and your opinion alone, and you have a right to say something.
I mean, I could make a wish list of people that I would pick to be interviewed for this project, because I know there's a lot of people who probably have their own particular viewpoint. They have they've seen things that maybe, I don't know, maybe something that, say, Cody Whistler didn't get a chance to see. Maybe there's something, that maybe, I don't know, Scott Henson didn't get a chance to see, so on and so forth. There's a lot of different names out there that I would love to see involved in this. Whether they get involved, who knows? But yeah, I've got my wish list at least.
I'm doing this right this second. I'm sending a message right now to Eddie Van Glam, and I'm offering him an opportunity to come on the podcast and tell his side of the story.
So this is interesting.
Let me get myself on the line.
I ran into Steve West at AEW in Denver the night the allegations came out against him. Interesting. So what happened with Steve West, I think, is pretty well been documented. We're not going to go into much detail about that. I'm sure it'll be covered in the documentary. I'm sure that'll have really probably its own section of the documentary, because it's not a small thing that happened. There were a lot of moving parts that obviously were involved and obviously led to what would be the end of 3-2-1 Battle.
Okay, so right here,
and that's what we want to figure out. We want to get to what what those moving parts were. Because
Right.
like it was said, I left 321 over 4 years ago. Like,
Yep.
I am hearing things from everybody though. Like there's people that were inside, people that were outside, people that were brothers of the accused. It's a story that needs to be told, and we're going to tell it from as many angles as possible.
Yep.
And even if it makes me look bad, even if it makes Chongo look bad, if it makes Bad Blood look bad, like if it makes you, Tony.
Hey man, I wasn't there. Allegedly. 17 allegedly, so for 18.
Okay, good.
I'm reading that AEW, so that actually brought up, like, I know that this person will probably not even answer any requests, but getting Brittany, girl Hebner.
Oh yeah,
that's right. She would definitely be someone I would love to hear from, but I'm sure that's not likely to happen, unfortunately.
Well, she's pretty busy.
That's true.
This right here. I just got pulled to the ring post show at AEW by Joey Janela, and then when I went back to my seat, my friends and Steve West was there. Super awkward. Super awkward.
John's got all of the dirt, and he's hiding it.
Well, here's the thing too. Like,
it's got to be hidden somewhere.
Someone knows where all the bodies are buried. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they do.
If you can find Jimmy Hoffa, let me know. He owes me some money.
We got shovels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got shovels.
Yep. Just depends on how hard we want to work to get down and dirty there,
Well, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people are going to ask, "What do you know?" They're going to ask Rob, "What bodies and what skeletons and what closets do you know?" They're going to ask, "What was truly happening at 321 that you know for sure?" People have been asking ever since I posted that we're going to have you on the show. My inbox has been blown up with, "Dude, ask him this question, ask him this question, ask him this question." It is not my job to ask him the questions that you guys want answers to.
Right.
That's why we made a Q&A.
Again, there is a documentary coming out next year. Chances are a lot of these questions are going to get answered there. And if they're not, maybe we can have a quote unquote post-mortem, so to speak.
Allegedly post-mortem. So
Spencer's bringing up some great things in the chat. Just some real talk about how hard it was to get over there. I saw that because certain people that will remain nameless at this point, but have been mentioned at other points, have really inflated egos and
I know one.
People.
Boy, do I!
I know one. I was in a match with one actually. I was in a 6-way scramble with one of them. I'm like, what the fuck is this all about?
So, I mean, I met a lot of great people in 321, like, and then I felt really bad when all of it went south. And like I said, I want to know why. I want, Andrew's going to get interviews with the people that probably wouldn't talk to me, because, I have heat, but, we want a fair story, because although we're talking about that person a lot, I don't think he's an absolute bad guy.
So here's an intriguing question. I'm not sure we can even really answer this, but who ended up with all the gym equipment and ring when Evolve was sold?
I don't know.
That's a really good question, actually.
Really good question.
God damn it. Well, what was her name that
Lauren.
ran Evolve? Lauren, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know she had to sell. It just, I guess, between that and the pandemic, I mean, unfortunately, it just became untenable. And
Okay,
I
so
won't get into
John?
what I saw. I think you guys need to interview John. Honestly,
So John,
because I think he's going to have all the.
So
Yeah.
John, this
Oh, I've
gentleman
got
right
a
here,
few people.
this gentleman right here, his name is Andrew. Andrew, meet John. John, Andrew,
Hello,
Andrew,
John.
John. I think you guys should have a conversation about what was seen at the
I think
airport in
you're
Denver.
right.
Apparently, I mean, I'm just saying.
Apparently.
I'm just throwing it out there. Looks like John.
I think
right
we
here.
need to schedule a time to get you on camera, John.
That's right,
Honestly,
John.
please.
That would be
So,
awesome.
like I said, ladies and
John
gentlemen,
is a great member of the fan community in Pacific Northwest Wrestling. He is a huge supporter of shows. He goes to so many shows, and he is kind of a tastemaker as well.
So we're kind of answering this question right now. Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, no, yeah. John
Not a
was
part of
not a
321.
part of 321. Yeah, John is a member of the Streamer Club.
I knew it.
Yeah.
The fucking
Yeah.
streamer club. They still owe me
Yeah.
a shirt.
They are good people.
Yeah.
You will find
Nope, not
them
at
at
all.
pretty much every Defy show nowadays, I believe.
Yeah.
hmm Well, I mean, so I'm going to ask a question because I want to know. If Steve West, oh my God, the streamer club is no more. That sucks. Well, I mean, pandemic. and
Well,
all.
and Washington Hall wouldn't let them throw streamers anymore.
Stupid. BCW Worldwide will let you throw all the streamers you want. Just come clean that shit up after you're done.
Hell yeah. Exactly. Do whatever you want. Just clean up your mess.
Just clean up your mess. So here's my question.
Yes.
And it was asked of me earlier today to ask this question. And I was like, fuck it, I'll ask it. The whole office structure at 321 when the situation was announced, the suspension, unsuspension, firing, secretly not fired, restructuring of the office, people stepping down.
This
What
sounds familiar.
what caused what happened there? What do you know what really
I
happened?
don't know what happened behind the scenes. I assume, just my assumption, allegedly, not even allegedly, like reading between the lines, what I see was they worked out a deal that the on paper owners were going to sign over the company, and somebody pulled out and killed that deal. So that
I've heard that possibly a Dave Turner may have been involved in this.
Well, I wasn't going to throw anybody's name out there, but sure.
Well, I believe that Turner was trying to buy the company, like
Yeah,
and
that's
keep
what
it
I
going,
heard.
because
I don't know if this was necessarily part of what we were just talking about. This may have been a separate thing.
No, that was part of it. That was
Okay.
That was part of the story that I heard, but I wasn't sure. So
yeah,
I wanted
and
to make
I'm not sure at all. So it's what I assume from looking at a press release and then two more press releases clarifying that one press release was not accurate, and then another was killing
That was
the
such
company.
a mess.
See, that's the thing that makes you look guilty. That's like saying, hey man, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. tonight. Oh wait, it's Tuesday. Oh no, you're right, it is Wednesday. Are you gonna fucking believe me? I've already changed my mind like 5 fucking times. You know? So
Well,
when you
and
post something,
and I feel for all of those people that were trying to save the company, because
it shouldn't have been all those people. It should have been the person that was in charge. When the person is, like, for instance, there was a situation that happened a while back with BCW. this situation happened and the other owners didn't inform one owner of the situation. That one owner could have stopped all the drama and the bullshit from happening. So a bunch of things were said and none of it was fucking true. And then the statement was made like, hey, here's the situation. This is the truth. And then they're like, oh, well, why didn't you just say that in the beginning? You know, you change your story so many times. It's hard to believe because the story keeps changing. And once again, that's alleged. You're right. That's alleged. That sounds like a ton of speculation and no facts. Like I said, I agree. That's why we said this is alleged. Alleged.
Yeah.
That means it could have happened. It did not happen. No one is placing blame. So, Joan, maybe stop talking about what y'all don't know about. So, Joan, like I said, once again, as a fan, you probably know 1% of what actually happens backstage. No offense. That's the reason why we're on the show tonight. It's an open forum. Everyone has their own opinion. No one is blaming or saying that this person did this and this person did that. No one is saying that this person's on a list. No one is saying this person is not on a list. We're here to talk about a documentary that is being made about a promotion that was ran by one of the members of this group that is here today, excluding Tony, myself, and Andrew.
And just for a short time. Like,
yeah.
I was not responsible for a whole lot. I was responsible for them starting to do seating reservations. I was responsible for them doing merch.
Yeah.
Like I was responsible for putting us on Facebook and promoting. Like that is what I did.
Okay, so Joan makes a very
as somebody who's just trying to tell a story, it's better that I'm objective. So it's
exactly
better that I don't know what I'm talking about because won't have any preformed opinions on the matter.
Precisely.
Exactly. Now, but you weren't there for the last 3 years. Joan, I get it. But let me ask you a question, Joan. Were you in the locker room for the past 3 years? Were you behind the scenes? Were you working for the company? Were you in the meetings? Were you hanging out with the booker? Were you part of this clique? Because if you weren't, then how do you know that these allegations aren't true? Or how do you know they are true?
So go ahead and bring up this comment here. Right. But for pushing a documentary that's supposedly getting made, there's a lot of speculation coming from people that have already claimed to have not been there. Well, what we've also been talking about is talking to people who were there, people who were in the middle of what happened, the relationships with those people. And to be truthful, there's a large part of this where Rob was in fact in the midst of it, and there's going to be a part where we're going to have obviously we're going to see a lot of people that Andrew's going to be interviewing that probably wouldn't talk to Rob, honestly. So
Andrew,
you're going to see a lot of unique perspectives.
Andrew, we're in early stages.
Yeah,
it's still, I mean, again, I was working on another project and started interviewing Rob, and then it became clear to me that there's another story here. So, yes, started to begin and work to the end. That's exactly
the storytelling. That is storytelling 101 in a nutshell.
Okay, Rex said this, and this who has all been interviewed from 321 so far?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I have several interviews already recorded, and again, Rudo here was my last interview, and then I decided that there's a bigger project, and I'd like to kind of expand this thing out. Trying to read this comment here.
It's funny because I was a part of the uprise, seeing the antics. I offered to let bygones be bygones with how they treated me, but when bring me back because I was too popular, but wanted to come to BCW to work a cage match with me.
Okay, now I remember that conversation very well. I remember that conversation.
I remember this.
Classic example. See, so Joan, your biggest comment was they weren't there for the last 3 years. Well, guess what, Joan? Just Exciting was. And he's stating his opinion.
Got to see
right
a lot
there.
of it. Yeah.
So for Master Boyd and Joan, you say that there is no one that was there 3 years ago. Well, this gentleman right here, Spencer Abram, Just Exciting, was there. And he is making his comments right here. So obviously, someone was there.
Two very distinct comments here. We'll get to you as well here, John. So John, I don't know if this has been talked about. Does anyone know why West was still getting booked 6 months out after the allegations against him and versus women? Oh boy.
Who was he getting booked by?
That's a good question.
Well,
we're gonna have to go.
I don't know.
We'll definitely have to go further into that. And Shane, your band too?
Who cares?
Well, I was gonna say, I've just got another 30-day sentence myself. So hey,
wait a second.
Welcome to the club.
Hold on. This answers a question that was brought earlier about being booked 6 months after the allegations. Who was booking him?
Hey!
And that's coming from someone who was at 321 who would see all these shows, because guess what? He went to every fucking show in southern Seattle. So obviously there's someone that was there. So That's a good question. Now,
yes, it is.
Joan and Master Boyd also said Just Exciting wasn't there after 2016.
He was there for a portion of what happened after Rob left, though.
And that's what we're talking about.
So,
but like I said,
so that's what I'm saying about all these multiple perspectives. So
mm-hmm.
You'll have all these different time frames. So you'll have a time frame from when Rob was there. You'll have a time frame from hopefully if you guys do interview Just Exciting or haven't already, you'll get his perspective from his time frame. And then, who knows who else might, if you were not in the audience or in the show for the last 3 years, you have no right to speak on the fall of anything. If you're going to go up to someone and they don't know, you don't know who you are, why are they gonna? Well,
speak about a traumatic event in my life.
Speak about
okay, I just gotta say this. I mean, I'm just gonna go online, on record, and say this right here on the podcast. Joan knows a lot more than she's letting on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because Joan is not speaking like a fan. Joan is speaking like someone who is in the business. So either Joan is not Joan, or Joan is someone who is a member of the 321 locker room. If you are, and you're a member of the locker room, step up and say who you are, and just put it out there. Like let's go. Like everyone needs to know.
2016 was my first year there. I was there for the first 2.5 years of my career, and that's correct because I actually remember Just Exciting's very first match was actually against Ron Von Hess.
Maybe Joan is a spouse.
Could be.
Well, could be. I'm not allegedly. Number 21, by the way. I'm just gonna say this, Joan. If you are a spouse or a member of the locker room or a worker or someone in the business, and you know something, don't be scared. Don't hide behind a pseudo name. Step up and say something. Because you're speaking you're speaking like someone who's in the business, not a fan in the crowd.
The other thing I'm noticing here, definitely a lot of defensiveness coming from these two. Again, this isn't a burial. This isn't verbal destruction. This isn't anything like that.
Fans going hard in the paint. That's what it sounds like to me.
And Douglas Rockefeller, I love you. Thank you for making this comment. Ken Burns wasn't alive for the Civil War, but he made a pretty good documentary about it. You could not have been more correct. Oh my God. Yes. Thank you.
Rockefeller with the burn.
I fucking love you.
Thank you very much for that, Douglas Rockefeller.
Yeah.
Proud member of the Rockefeller Foundation.
You could.
And with that, we're out. It's like a George Costanza.
You can go a long way on just really, really good informed research. Interviews are. This is why you do interviews. This is the whole reason. So, I'm a big documentary guy. I mean, if you haven't seen In Search of Darkness, horror movie documentary, they're about to release a third part because they had so much material that they literally they had 5 hours in part 1, and that still was, they still had to make a part 2. Then they realized they had more to make a part 3. All that research going into 3 distinct parts. The people involved in that documentary, they weren't on set for all those movies.
It's true.
You think these guys were there, for the original Fly and then were there for the remake in the 80s? I don't think so.
Look, I can put it to you like this. You guys ever watch that show First 48?
Yeah.
It's like the first 48 hours after a murder has been committed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but the person is dead. And the killer is not there. But the fucking show's a documentary about what happened.
Yeah.
So,
and I get it. Yeah. Like, we all want to know what happened. I mean, there's a lot that, I've been told about a lot of what happened. I've seen a few things here and there. Yeah. So we want to be informed. And that's part of the reason why this is being made.
I've seen things in the locker room that made me not want to go back there. So, just saying.
Yeah.
Suspicious amount of people rolling into the comments who have never been here before.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Okay.
I mean, some people,
now that I've called Joan out, she stopped commenting. Interesting.
Pastor Boyd, I'd like to address what you're saying here. I've got at least 4 perspectives on camera now. However, that's really just scratching the surface here. There's so many people in this story, and there's so many people. You're right. I am hoping people will step up and want to talk. I'm 100% hoping that, because I definitely think, having talked to the people I've talked to, that there's so many more people who would love to actually talk about what went on here and what they experienced. As far as understanding why somebody might not want to talk about their trauma with me, I totally get that. I get it. I've got PTSD. I'm not going to talk to you about why I have PTSD, but I can promise you I've seen some bad shit that I'll never, ever forget again. And I don't ever want to talk about it. And I get that. However, if you want a story out there, you have to be willing to tell it. And that's the simple fact of it. Again, I'm not anonymous online. Send me a message. I'm an understanding guy. My wife's a psychologist. I get it. Just come talk to me. And even if you don't want to talk on camera, if you just want what you have, your perspective, to be included in what comes out, please reach out to me. It would be beneficial for the overall telling of the story if we had that perspective. I can promise you.
100% agreed.
Oh, look at this comment.
So enough of us fans stayed after shows
to see some of the slight behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
I know I've not seen any of you are just exciting in the last 3 years. Okay, so
I was one of those fans that stayed behind.
I'm going to make this statement.
Come on.
I'm going to make this statement. I'm just going to leave it here. Joan, do you honestly and truly think that a professional wrestling organization as private as 3-2-1 Battle will let a fan, no matter how long you stayed, see behind the curtain. That's like a fan saying, man, I was at fucking WWE and I stayed outside and waited for everybody to leave so I could sneak in and talk to Vince McMahon. You think that fucking actually would happen? No, that would not happen. Okay? It doesn't matter if you've seen Just Exciting or anyone on this panel in the last 3 or 4 years there. That doesn't matter. That is not the point we're trying to make.
Not
the point
at
we're
all.
trying to make is that there's a story that Andrew is being diligent to find the truth behind all the gossip and the rumors and the dark clouds behind all this bullshit. Andrew's working hard to find this shit out. Rob happens to be someone that was actually there and saw, even if he saw 2% of the shit, guess what? That's still 2% more than you saw as a fan.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with this right here. 321 wasn't everybody's cup of tea when they shut down. The battalion lost a special place to go watch wrestling. That was a great place to go watch wrestling.
That was fucking awesome. That, to me,
it was.
Being someone that's been in the business so long, going to 321 Battle, and I'm from LA. To me, 321 Battle was the PWG of Seattle. Because they had some great fucking matches. That was a great place to go. Fans were so into it. Like, they didn't have a fucking bell that rang. They were just like 3, 2, 1 battle. And it was fucking awesome. Those fans were dope. It really was. So trust me when I say this, Joan. I'm not bashing 3, 2, 1 battle in the least. I think that was a fucking great organization.
And nobody here is claiming to know everything about what went on either.
I just know what I saw online, and some of the people that I talked to there personally told me some of the shit that happened there. But I was subscribed to this philosophy: if I didn't see it, it didn't fucking happen. That's what I think. Someone can say, dude, Joan is a fucking bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the world. That's cool. She hasn't been a bitch to me, so I don't care.
Yeah.
That's how I live my life. That's how this podcast is. This podcast is non-biased. We're not going to bash anybody. I mean, like except WWE. We bash the shit
except WWE. Yeah, we do. Yeah, no, they get abused enough as it is.
They abuse themselves by fucking running their show every week. But still,
yeah, that's true.
That's not the point. The point I'm trying to make, Joan, and I really hope that you're understanding me. And I thank you very much for tuning in to this podcast. Just like everyone around the world that listens to this podcast, because it's awfully weird that we're getting people watching in Bangladesh. Didn't know they had fucking TV there, but apparently they're watching.
Yes. Quick
shout out to Qatar and Bulgaria for tuning in. Thank you very much.
So quick question. So this is actually I like this question. So it's one of Andrew's goals to interview the wrestlers who stopped wrestling after 3-2-1 close. Good question, because there are actually quite a few of those out there.
So just to clarify, you're asking wrestlers who left the business after 3-2-1 close, correct?
More or less, yeah. Because some guys who, like, let's say Daniel Makabe, he went on to have a hell of a career after 3-2-1 close. He was already he was on his way up even while 3-2-1 was going. And then there are let's see, I'm trying to think of an example offhand. We haven't really seen much of Big Cat, for example, after 3-2-1 close. So
thank God.
Rude.
I cannot wrestle that guy in this fucking tiger tail.
I'm definitely interested in hearing. I don't care if you're a name. You think, I'm not a big enough name. They're not going to care about what I have to say. I don't care about that. If you think you have a story to tell, let me hear it. That's, that's what it is. What
the hell?
Joan, just a quick reference. I'm also Canadian.
Last time I checked, there's wrestling in Canada. Yeah, they were kind of they're kind of famous for it, honestly.
Hey, Cheryl, is there wrestling in Canada? Cheryl's from Canada. I'm also Canadian, Joan, so we're not talking shit about anyone from Canada, so trust me.
It was kind of their thing for a while, being some of the best wrestling in the world. I mean, just so you know.
I just love this comment. Like, I'm gonna leave this comment up here for a few minutes because it just makes me laugh. He's Canadian, ass. I'm Canadian too, eh? Sorry. I was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I can tell you the hospital and everything. You want to know? Because I'm Canadian.
Good Lord.
Oh, my Jesus Christ.
Okay, so let's finish up with these last few comments. People know the truth about what happened with West. They should have been honest from the start. Agreed. They should have been transparent.
Yeah.
Absolutely should have been transparent. That's completely inexcusable that it went that long without anybody speaking up. But and then you know what? This is a good one to go out on. Let's go out on this. Joan can kick rocks and kiss my Canadian. Boom. Right there.
Joan, I'm not gonna reveal my interview list until the project's finished.
Okay, well let me do this. Let me do this because I know Joan is gonna keep picking at it until she gets her answer. So I'm just gonna say this: the people you've interviewed, I'm just gonna throw a bone to her because I'm Canadian. Andrew, the people you've interviewed, would you say you said you have 4 interviews on film, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so those 4 interviews you have on camera, out of those 4, has anyone still worked for the company when it closed?
Worked for 3-2-1 Battle when it's still closed?
Yes.
Not that I know of, no. In
Did
fact,
they work for the company during this traumatic event?
They did, yes.
Okay, so they worked for this company during a traumatic event. So they know what's going on. They knew what happened.
They had a lot of background perspective and what was going on behind the scenes.
Okay, so wait. So let me get this straight, because before we go, I just want to make sure that I'm not tripping. That I want to make sure that I'm not crazy. But I just want to make sure that things aren't crazy. You're telling me that the people you've interviewed, the 4 people you literally have on camera, that when you put together this amazing documentary and you put that documentary out, these 4 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 people were there when this whole sexual harassment, all this drama that closed 321 Battle, they were actually there when it happened.
Let me clarify.
Hold on. Let him answer.
I will go as far as to say that allegations were made specifically against one of the interviewees.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay. So with
There
that
you go.
being said, Joan, in the words of Bray Wyatt, we're here.
He did that. He really did that.
Because I'm from Canada, I can do that.
Yeah, you can. Oh, goodness.
So I guess that answers Joan's question, right? I mean, Joan, you got anything else you want to throw at us that we can debunk? Because I feel like I'm feeling a little frisky tonight.
Yeah, well, we're also kind of running out of time here, so.
Chongo doesn't count. Why doesn't Chongo count?
Chongo.
Why is it because Chongo's on a list? Is that why he doesn't count?
I haven't flown out to Denver yet to interview Chongo, so.
Well, there goes that theory.
Yeah.
And it's nobody else. She's going to be like, well, that only leaves one other person. No, that doesn't. So just wait for the movie. Thank you.
I want to do this, Andrew.
I'm clapping out like a blackjack dealer.
Okay, last 2 questions, because Nick actually has some somewhat insightful questions.
Wait. Before you say anything else, Andrew, I would like to do this. Please let us know the moment this documentary is done. And just for Joan Wentworth, because I like her name. I like her. She is my new favorite person on the show. She's more over than Sign Guy. Because Joan is so over and she knows so much about the business. Can we debut it on the fucking podcast? I will seriously dedicate however long the fucking film is. I will specifically make a spot on the podcast, and I will contact Joan. I will tag her ass on YouTube, because that's just her YouTube thing. I will tag her on YouTube so she can see this for herself. Please. I will pay you. I will pay you to put it on this podcast.
Okay, let's do it. As long as Rob's on board, because he's co-producer.
Yeah,
good.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're going to debut the Rise and Fall of 321 Battle just for Joan. No one else is invited to watch.
Working name. Working title.
Working title.
Just for Joan. Working title. That's why I'm going to write that on everything now.
Okay, last couple of questions. Andrew, will you be using footage from any 321 Battle shows?
Yes, definitely. You can't tell a story. You can't tell a story like this.
Where did you get footage?
Well, unfortunately, the person that shot all the footage still has all the footage.
Yes.
And he is kind of on the outs with those people. So I think that we have access to the footage because he talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer said that he has rights to it because he never signed the rights over.
Smart man.
Yeah. And the last question, we can pretty much this is just theory. So does anyone still own 321? I don't think anybody really knows for sure, but if they do, I
would assume that you could do a quick LLC check.
Yep. I personally, I don't know 100% for certain, but again, yeah, LLCs are fairly easy to look up. Hashtag just for Joan. Oh my God. You have officially gotten yourself more over than signed guy. That's one hell of an accomplishment.
Yes.
That is a hell of an accomplishment.
You're on the ticker now. Hashtag just for Joan.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It has been both insightful and illuminating and even in a way hilarious.
You can find me at Large Rob on Twitter and Instagram.
Large Rob on Twitter and Instagram. What about you, Andrew?
I'm just AW and my long, crazy last name. I'm the only one in America. Pretty sure Turkey killed the rest of us. So you should be good to find me.
That's
awesome.
Dark.
Yeah.
Tony, tell these amazing people where they can find us every week, man.
Well, until we get the new time slot change, which will be happening next week, by the way. We'll be updating everybody on the BCW Worldwide Facebook page and other social media outlets. Monday night, that's at 10 p.m., Channel 11 on both Xfinity and on Prism. You missed that, you can catch us Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. on Channel 22 on Xfinity, Channel 8002 on Prism, and finally on Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Channel 23 Xfinity and Channel 8003 on Prism. And just to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler, we're going to be doing first run shows within days of the live broadcast.
Hashtag first run.
First run. So you'll be able to see those on local TV literally on, I want to say, 3-day delay. So if you miss it, you can catch it in about 72 hours.
Man. And you know what? If you like this podcast and you really like Joan, if you guys think that Joan is amazing, because me personally, I just became her fucking #1 fan. You can always support the channel. You can go to support the channel at https://anchor.fm/the Roundtable Podcast /support, because we need that money so we can put together this film for Joan, ladies and gentlemen. And if you can't if you can't watch this every week, why?
Fundraising so we can watch the show with Joan, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Hashtag for Joan. Just for Joan. Of course, if you want to listen to this podcast, you can find us on Amazon. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and all other major podcast platforms that Joan listens to on a daily basis, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, it has been a day. Oh, and if you're really cool, you like this shirt I'm wearing right here, or this cool hat, you can go find them real easily at www.503originals.com. That is www.503originals.com for all your hats, t-shirts, joggers, sweatpants, everything, man. Watches, wristbands, Joan's phone number, all that shit. 503originals.com. That's where you can get it.
Oh, good Lord.
And before we go, let's go ahead with this final thought. Final thoughts. If you live your truth, the truth will set you free. Hashtag just for Joan. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here at the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. For Andrew and for the Rudo himself and for Tony the Burns, I have been the franchise player at Double B Bad Blood. And you know what? Joan, this is for you.